Hello, 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 everybody, and welcome, welcome, welcome to the Mary D Talk Show. Um, those of you, I'd like well, first, let me go back. Let me stop. You know how I get. I like to first thank you, our live viewers. Hi, live viewers. I like to thank you, our replay viewers. Hi, replay viewers. I know you guys say, because it all matters. Whether you're live, whether you're replay, doesn't matter. It matters to me that you're here. So thank you, thank you, thank you for that. I'd like to also thank you, our sponsors, which is like the Idea Club. If you have an idea, you want to go to the website for the Idea Club. Um, Unfortunately, Dumas Martin Jr., who was the originator, has, um, as they say, gone to be with the ancestors. That's the best. That's such an honor, as they said, gone to be with the ancestors. I know many of you. This is what I was told years ago: is that when people are born, we should cry, and when they pass away, we should celebrate. We do it the other way around. We celebrate when they're born, and we cry when they pass away. But just so you know, it's supposed to be the opposite. We should be celebrating. But I think because we're so heartbroken, that's what it is. But anyway, let me go on. Those of you that are interested in writing a book, Front Page Publishing, coming out soon with a subscription service. Subscription for those of you that are interested. If you're on the email list, that's coming. I want to say this too. If you're not on the email list, you can get on the email list by going to Mary D. Welch, Mary at marydwelch.com. Send your email and you can be added to the email list. Real simple. Hi, Nanette. Nanette says, hi, Mary. Wasn't sure if you're going to have the show today. All is good. Oh, good. I'm glad, Nanette. Nanette, thank you. And let me say this too. I wasn't sure either. I had so many commitments, but usually I'll say something if I don't have the show. So I did want to take a moment, do a moment of silence because today is Memorial Day. And I really wanted to go over with you the actual history of Memorial Day. I need to pull it up and go over how Memorial Day got started and all that. Those of you, you may or may not know, I am a retired history teacher. I taught history for years. I love history. And so going over the history of Memorial Day I thought might be something we might like to review and just to go over what it is all about. And I'm sitting here now. I have to, okay, hold on. I'm sitting up here. Sorry about that. I'm doing two things at once. So let me say that. And my apologies on the email list. I did not realize I didn't send the link. You know, so the today's show, it went out, but the link to today's show wasn't on there. So my apologies to all of you. You can still get there, but you have to go to YouTube or Facebook normally I send the link for YouTube. So if those of you that are here, if you would go to YouTube and subscribe, and share the show out, it really would be appreciated. So those of you that do that. So we're going to get started on today's show. Now, honestly, I took the book. I'm sharing with you guys. I took the book and I went and left the book I was reviewing it for today's show. So I'm going to go over the book that many of you are familiar with on Saying No Nicely. I'm going to go over this with you because even now, think about this. I wrote the book, Saying No Nicely. You can pick it up on Amazon. There you go. Once you see the cover. I wrote this book, oh my God, I'm going to say 2021, 2020. It's maybe 2020. That's how long ago. I know it's at least 2021. Let me see. The copyright is in, oh my goodness, 2019. Look how fast these years are going by. Why I'm sharing this book with you is because this is still my number one selling book. That's why. Out of all, if you go to Amazon right now, you'll see all the 5 stars for this book. It's very small, and I like the fact it's small. I don't know about you, but I like reading books that are just, real compact, just real quick. You could probably read this book, and I'm not going to exaggerate. 30 minutes, you're done. Because I think it's 38 pages. Oh, I'm wrong. I thought it was 30. Well, actual content. The content is 41. It says 41. No. 40 pages total. So I'm gonna let you see that. That's how short the book is. But I wanted to share this with you because I'm going to read some excerpts from it and go over some things, because I've actually been approached to write a teenage version of this book, to write one for teenagers, because teenagers struggle with saying no nicely. And sometimes you might say, well, because I remember when I was a teenager, if I said no, then my go-to, if I didn't want to do something, I could say, oh, my parents said no. They said no. That was my go-to. Nobody's gonna question that. Now, sometimes they would say yes, but I would say no because I didn't really want to do whatever it was. That's probably a little line. Is that a little line? I don't know. But but I knew that I at least need to ask. But I'm gonna tell you, this is one I'll tell you about. I'm saying no nicely. But I really wanted to do that. I had to tell my friends no. They wanted to go to the beach and have a beach party, and we spend the night on the beach. My parents said no. They said, no, I'm not letting you do anything like that. Hi, Sheila. Hi, Sheila. Nice to see you. They didn't hesitate. They said no, and they meant no. And that was the end of that. Because my parents said, when they told me no, I was afraid to do it. If they said no, then I may not have liked it, but I was that kind of kid. I just accepted what they said. I said, this is how I looked at life. They've been here longer than I have. That's all I used to say to myself. They've been here longer than you. That's it. So they would know. And I just went by that. And I accepted it. So, but I'm going to go over this with you because this, and I'll be honest, some of you, this is what I find. This is not something that everybody struggles with. Everybody doesn't struggle with saying no. I have talked to many people that said, I have no problem saying no. No problem. I'm going to give you guys some tips. Somebody I can tell you right now, you need to hear this. You're going to be like, wow, I need to hear this. I didn't know that I could just do that, or that saying no with, I could say it this way, or I could say it that way, you just didn't know. Not that you couldn't say it, you just didn't know. So first, before we get started, let's take the moment of silence, because today is Memorial Day, and we're honoring men and women who gave their lives for this country. Let's take a moment. Thank you. All right, ladies and gentlemen. So we are honoring the men and women that dedicate their lives to this country and the different wars. And we have, I say quite a few, because we're talking, that would be the American Revolution, the Civil War, which the Civil War, everyone that died in the Civil War was American. So that is the largest loss of life in the history of this country. Then you also have I can go back. You got the Mexican-American War. You got the American Revolution. You got the Civil War. You have World War I. You have World War II, and we have Vietnam. But we also have the Korean War, and we have different, like you could say, skirmishes that happen too. But then you also have what's happened in the Middle East. So we have it's all kinds of conflicts that our country has been involved in and still is involved in. Still is involved in to this day. So we need to honor those men and women who have dedicated their lives and lost their lives for this country. Okay, so I want to now take you to the book, as I said before. So just for anybody that came in, what are we doing? I'm going to give you some tips. Let's say tips and tricks, I guess you could say, for saying no nicely. The next couple of months, I do have other speakers lined up. I like talking to you guys. I do. I like talking to the audience. I like your feedback. Like I said, unfortunately, that when I sent the link out last night, what I'm learning, don't send anything out when you're tired, because I didn't realize the link to today's show wasn't in the email until after the email went out. And I was like, okay, the link isn't there. So anyway, going forward to remember to turn to for the link to do that, to go out. Let me say that. So I definitely want to remember to do that. So on saying no nicely. So This is a quote from Ava DuVernay. She said, "Remember, you're not asking for permission to say no." Say it again. Remember, you're not asking for permission to say no. Let me tell you some things I've learned about saying no. Ladies and gentlemen, that is, as they say, no is a complete sentence. It's a complete sentence. So once you say no, you don't have to go into details about that. It is a complete sentence no. That's what it is. So keep that in mind. And also keep in mind, and it's really in the book, it is not just what you say, it's how you say it. If you say something to me and I go, no, what if I said, no? It's still no. Remember, it's still the word no, but it's how I said it. And I talk about this in the book. How you speak to people and how you say things are so, so important. So don't think that you can just say no any kind of way and you don't hurt people's feelings. You don't make people feel bad. You don't, all of these things that people do. I've seen it, so I know what I'm talking about here. You have to be cautious of how you say it. And I even put this in the book. No is a weapon. No is a weapon. It's almost like a sword that goes shuk, 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 shuk. That's how no is to be. So that's why it's so important that you realize it, that when you're saying no, it is a big deal. It's not a small deal. It's a big deal. So when you say it, be conscientious about how you're saying it. Don't just throw no around. I'm going to go and see, I'm off the book to a certain extent, but I'm saying this because I don't want to forget to say these things. When you're saying no, the best way to say it is this. I say the best way. This is what I've learned. First of all, you think about it. You don't just abruptly, even if you're going to say no, and all this, everything I'm telling you is in the book. You give that person enough respect to say, let me think about it, or give me a moment to think about it. And let me tell you how you give yourself a moment. One way could be, when you say, let me think about it, usually that comes with a deadline. You said, let me think about it. I'll give you a call tomorrow. Or let me think about it. Give me a few minutes. I'll give you a call back. Or give me a few minutes to think about it and I'll let you know. All of those. You didn't say the word no yet, but what you're saying, and that's it. No is freedom to me. And it is. You know why it's so huge? It takes the responsibility off you. That's what it does. So, the first chapter in the book is saying no nicely to your family and friends. I took a deep breath because we don't want to say no to family and friends. Not usually. We want to say yes. When we're saying no to family and friends, it's because we don't feel as though we don't want to hurt their feelings. But the truth is, with everybody, that's the case. It's our feelings that's at stake. In my observation, men will say no quicker than women, and they will say it. They don't say it ugly, but they say it better business-like. They just say no. It's like a no, like, no, I'm not doing that, or no, I'm not going to this, whatever. But they're more business. They're not. Women, it tends to be more emotional. It's more, no, or, or I don't want to say no. I'm going to say this. They apologize. That's what they do for having to say the word no. That's what I noticed. I don't know why I started doing. I think I do know why. Because I was such a yes person. That's what made me start watching no. That's what made me start coming to terms with, I'm struggling with this. So how can I learn? And so I started just kind of keeping a little, book of when I heard no, and when I heard someone say no, and they did it in such a way that it didn't hurt somebody's feelings. Nobody felt bad. None of those things. That's when I knew. That's when I started recognizing it and paying attention. The way I did it, truthfully, ladies and gentlemen, I watched TV. This is where I watched TV. I watched them say no. And then I just kept a little running tally of the no's. And I learned how to use no. I learned there's a way to do it and people don't feel offended or feel like, oh, you're hurting somebody's feelings and you're making me feel bad and you're doing. I had to learn that. It is truly an art. Saying no is an art. As I go on, I'm saying family and friends. Let me say this. As I said before, well, this is in bold. It says, sometimes no is the kindest word. Think about that. Let me tell you why. Have you ever heard somebody say, why didn't you just say no? I've heard them say it. Why didn't you just say no? I can't do it. I can't be there. I can't, whatever it is. Just say the word no. I shared with you I think I have before. It's been a while. This was years ago. I had 4, think about what I'm saying here. I remember, this is my story. I had 4 engagements on the exact same night, on the exact same time, because I didn't know how to say no. 4. I'm counting for you. 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 things on a Friday night. I'll never forget this. 6 o'clock on a Friday night. And I did not have the courage or knowledge or whatever in me to say no. I came home, I took a shower, and I got in the bed. I never went to any of them. Nothing. I was so overwhelmed. That was probably when I started realizing I needed some help in saying no. I didn't know how to say no. Now I do. Now I've learned when something has hit that calendar and somebody else says, I don't even hesitate. I said, thank you, but I already have a previous engagement. End of story. I don't have to go to 2 or 3 things. I used to actually easily go to 2 and 3 things in one day and one night. And it's crazy. Jumping around. It's just, no. But I didn't know how to say no. So now I do. Now, if Oliver and I go to one thing, that's it. That is it. We're not going to anything else. Whatever that one thing is, that's all we're going to. That one thing. We're not going to another thing. We're going to that one thing. We stay in there to whatever that, it could be a dinner, a luncheon, or I don't care what it is. But we're not going to nothing else because it's number one, we're getting older. And all that jumping around and here, there, everywhere, it's too much. It's too much. But I had to learn. And I think I just enjoyed all the fun things. I mean, that's part of it too. But the reality is, it's too much. You have to know that. Like I said, we're getting older. But if we go to one thing, you can believe we're at that thing, whatever that is. We're not going to anything else. It's just we're not doing that. So the point is, I had to learn how to do that. So for instance, let me give you an example. Family could have invited us to a birthday party, and then somebody else invited us to a luncheon the same day or something like that. And these things do happen on our calendar, our schedules, and all that kind of stuff. Now I'll say yes to the birthday party, whatever comes first. Let me say that's another thing. I don't hold that calendar day open for anything. It's whatever hits that calendar first. That's what I'm going to. Because I feel like, number one, I didn't know the other thing was even coming, usually for the most part. So I've learned, just go to the one thing. So when you say no, let me tell you there's one thing I just gave you. It's a nugget. Number one, you express gratitude. Oh, I'm sorry. Before I go back to express gratitude, don't give an immediate answer. You may say, what does that mean? That's when I say, let me think about it. Or another way I say it, which is true, I'll say, let me check my calendar. That's perfectly acceptable. Let me check my calendar. That's one. Now we have everything on the phone. I don't really have everything on my phone. I probably need to. But the point is, at that time, we all read, well, I did. I'm saying everybody, but it had a calendar, the kind you carry around. It had your calendar, had all your information in it. But the point is this: check your calendar. You may say, I need to check my calendar, or let me check back with you. That's what you're really doing is giving yourself time. I've heard people say yes, and then they went back to that person and said no. And the person says, well, I'm sorry, you already committed to it. I don't have anybody else to do X, Y, and Z. I've heard them say all these conversations I've heard through the years. So I have learned it is better to say no. And then you can always turn that no into a yes. It's hard to turn a yes into a no. I'm going to say that again. Once you've said yes and you've committed to something, it is hard to go back and say, no, I found out I couldn't do it. And then the first thing that person's going to say, well, you said you would do it. And they would be right. They're not wrong. But I have learned it is better. And not that you can't change your mind. I don't want to sound like that, because you can. People change their mind every day. But you want to be a person of integrity. So the better way to say it is no. And even say that to people. I better say no. And if I can do it, I'll let you know. That's another way. Well, that's another tool you can say in your toolbox of saying no. And just say, today I'm going to say no. But if I find out things change, then I can come back and let you know. That one's not in the book, I don't think. So that's a good one. Say no at first. And then come back, and you can come back and say yes later, if that's what you're going to do. Okay. Express gratitude. Now, you may say, what does that mean? Expressing gratitude means, thank you for asking me. I really do appreciate it. It is, thank you for thinking of me. Those are gratitude. Just thank you. Just thank you, because you're saying to the person, now you may end up saying no. Don't get me wrong. You still may be saying no, but that thank you is huge. It's huge. So don't be afraid to say thank you. Don't be afraid to say thank you. I appreciate you asking me. Thank you for asking me. I'm going to, let me check my calendar. Let me, see if that date's available. All these things. I'm not sure. That's another one, by the way. You would lean toward the no. Always lean toward the no, because then that person you're on notice that it could be a no. So lean in toward no. Don't lean toward a yes when you're not sure. Always lean toward the no, and then you can always change it to the yes. Remember I said that? See how that works? If I lean toward no, I'm not quite sure, then I can always come back later and say, you know what? I checked my calendar and I'm available. This actually just happened to me like 2 days ago. Somebody, they had called and said, Mary, you guys are available? So this. And I said, let me check. And I said, let me check, but I'm not sure. But I think, that's what I said. I think we have something else on that day. And as a matter of fact, we did. And I said, so then I called them back. I said, no, we can't do that. We have another commitment that day. But I still said no. Think about everything I'm saying to you. I have said no. But guess what? The way I'm saying it to you opens up that relationship to the next time something happens. You think they're still going to invite us? They do. You know why? The way I did it. Not that I did it. Not that I said no. The way I said no. I said no in a very, I'm not trying to hurt your feelings. I'm really trying to be there. That's really what they're hearing. I want to be there. I want to go. It's just that I can't get there. I can't do it. I mean, that does happen. Hi, Fayette. Hi, Fayette. How are you? Oh, thank you, Fayette. This is one of the authors, ladies and gentlemen, in her book. Now I forgot the book. Little Faye. I know it's Little Faye. Help me out, Fayette. I have it right here, too. I keep your books near me. Isn't that something? I keep all the authors near me. Uh-oh. Oh, see why Little Faye is so happy? Are you good? Okay. It's always good to see you. Take care, sweetheart. And let me do a roll call. So today on the show, we have Nanette, Sheila, Fayette, and anyone else calling in. Why is Little Faye so happy? There you go. Her book is Why Is Little Face So Happy? Thank you. Thank you. It is on Amazon, ladies and gentlemen. As they say, wink, wink, wink. So go. It's a cute little book. She's now writing the book with her granddaughter. She's going to write another book that's going to go with similar to that, but it's written by her and her granddaughter. I think that is just wonderful. So, and I didn't even talk about, I'm talking about your books. I haven't talked about my book. The new book coming out soon is When I Was on the Moon. And the cover, and I didn't even put that on here. Do I have it with? No, I don't. It's at the, I know it's being printed. Anyway, is a little girl, it's a little black girl. She's planting her flag on the moon. It's the first book I've ever written has a black girl on the cover. I'm so excited. Anyway, but Why Is Little Face So Happy is Fayette's book. Let me put it up there, Fayette. So, ladies and gentlemen, please support this wonderful author and buy a copy of her book. It's right there on Amazon. You can type in Fayette Foster or Why Is Little Face So Happy, and it'll come up. Yay! I'm so proud of her. It's her first book. So, yeah, ladies and gentlemen, go on in and support. We got to support one another. We really do. So I want to go back. I'm going back to the book. See, I'm getting better at that. I think I told you, one of my sons, they said, Mom, why do you change subjects and you don't tell us you're changing the subject? So I'm going back to the subject at hand. And it is, for those of you that are new or came on, it is Saying No Nicely. This is a book I did not know. I wrote this book in 2019. It's copyright in 2019. It's still, to this day, the best-selling book I've ever written. Think about all the children's books I have. This is still the number one book that I've ever written. It was on Amazon #1 for over a week. Over a week on Amazon. I was like floored when I couldn't believe it. But it also it tells me that I wasn't the only one struggling with this. Saying no nicely. Okay. So if you, and we go back, so I'm giving you some tools. You can copy these down. And these are all in the book, by the way. And the book is only, what I charge, $12, $13, something like that. But that's probably why people, when they give it the stars, I think it's either 4.5 or 5 stars. It's really a high rating because you get a lot to work with in a short amount, in a small book. That's what I think it is. I'm giving you tools that's going to help you. Okay, I'm going to read this from the book. So, express gratitude. Remind yourself that the person wouldn't have asked if they didn't feel close enough to trust you. Follow up with your clear rejection by expressing gratitude for that closeness. Keep your response simple. If you want to say no, to be firm and direct, use phrases such as, so this is straight from the book. It means a lot to me that our relationship is close enough that you can come to me with this request. I'm really sorry that I can't come through for you. Only thing is, that's kind of like an apology, though. I'm going to be honest on that one. Number 2, thanks for coming to me, but I'm afraid it's not convenient right now. I'm so sorry I can't help this evening. Still, those are all no's, by the way. And that was number 2. Number 3, thank you for asking, but my plate is overflowing right now, and this is not a good time for me. That's one of my favorites. Now, okay, which is the same as this one, kind of, sort of, and that is, this one is, thank you for thinking of me. I really do appreciate it, but this is not a good time for me. That is the one I liked of all of them. And I'm going to repeat this for you, ladies and gentlemen, because this is so powerful when you use this one. I had a lady call me when this book first came out. I had a lady call me, and she said, she called. Well, let's say when it first came out, she was actually one of my readers. She read the book, one of my, because you always, well, not always, but I always have other people read it. And she said was she in the restroom? I think she was in the restroom. I forget. But she called me and she said, Mary, your book works. And I said, because she was whispering. So I'm like, what? Like, who is this? She said, Mary, I used what's in the book. She goes, my boss came to me arms full of somebody else's work. And normally I took it on top of my work because I didn't know how to tell her no. But what I used in there, she said, I used what's in your book. And it was thank you for thinking of me. I really do appreciate it, but this is not a good time for me. The boss turned to her. She said, she turned to me and said, okay, thank you. and gave the work to somebody else. Think about how powerful that is. Now, I don't know if you've ever been through that, ladies and gentlemen. They're bringing, which is not your work to you to do, but you have to maintain that relationship. You don't want to lose a relationship by saying no. She said the lady actually turned to her and said, in other words, that's okay. Because the way she said it, not that she said no, it was how she said it. She said it in such a nice and professional way. I can almost guarantee the boss didn't even really catch it. It was still no. It was still no. It wasn't like it was a yes in there. It was still nope. So all of this is so, so powerful for you in the future. Now, this is what I have found too, because this on this explaining your reasons. My issue with that, when you start explaining your reasons and you start explaining too much, next thing you know, you're going to talk yourself into a yes. Once you say what you have to say, pause, breathe. You know why? Let me tell you why. When you stop, you say it. Like I said, what I'm going to say it again. So as they say, for the folks in the back, thank you for thinking of me. So what did you do? You thank them. Number 2, I really do appreciate it. Who's going to say anything to that? And then here we go. This is the one that brings it on home. But this is not a good time for me. I never even use the word no in that sentence. Never. That is why that is so powerful. You never use the word no, but the answer is really no. And I'm just telling you, I love that one. That's my all-time fave of everything, is that one. Because I never use the word no, but I'm saying no, but it doesn't sound like no. And it sounds like it sounds like a nice, it actually is like a massage. It's like a nice massage. And what she said that day when she called me, she was almost in tears. She said, she goes, I have done people's work for so long. That's why she was coming straight to her. Think about it. She was bringing the work to her from someone else who was out or whatever the case. We don't know what the issue was. But the point is, it wasn't her work. But the way she said it to that boss, and she said that woman actually turned around, looked me in the face, and said, thank you, and walked away and gave it to somebody else. And she couldn't wait to call me. She could not wait because because when she said your book works, I really didn't know what she was talking about until she explained what was going on. It works because you are kind. If I cannot share anything else with you, ladies and gentlemen, kindness. I have right near, it says, if you can be anything, right next to my desk, if you can be anything, be kind. That one thing, kindness. Kindness. And this is, kindness goes so far, because even when I don't want to be kind, I try to be kind. I'm going to say this honestly. I don't walk on water. No. So I have learned, even when I don't want to be kind, it doesn't matter if I want to be or not. What matters is I have to be kind regardless. Regardless. We are such delicate creatures. I say creatures because it's the human race, but we are. If I say something to you and it hurts your feelings, I will say 99% of the time, you will never tell me that. But I will also say 99% of the time, you'll never forget it. You'll never forget it. Think about what's being said. I try to be kind. The reason being, I understand me. I'm real sensitive. Oh my God. Oh, you guys just don't know. I am hypersensitive. If you look at me wrong, I'll be honest with you guys. If you look at me wrong, if you say something, if you do, I'll be like, ooh, once you say, if you anything that hurts my feelings, honey, I'm under the sign of Cancer. You know what we do? We crawl into a hole. We go into our shell and we get away from you. That's what cancers do. Cancers, we don't always confront. We're not confrontational. I'm gonna speak for me. I can't speak for anybody else, but for me, I'm not confrontational. I'm just not. I'm not looking for a fight. I'm not the one. I'm going, walk down the road. I'm not that person. If anything, I back up. I don't want to get into a confrontation with you. I don't want to get into where we're arguing. I don't want to do none of that. I don't have a desire. I have no desire to do that. None. So I'm the total opposite. So if anything, I'm going to probably go over and above to be kind, because I know I don't like confrontation. I don't want to I have no desire to get in somebody's face. I'm going to tell you how I know I don't like confrontation. I went all the way through school. Think about this. Kindergarten through graduating from high school, not one fight. Not one. I have friends, they was fighting seemed like every day. I just didn't have the desire or the need. My thing was, if I was going to do any fight, I did with my mouth, in essence, but I didn't do anything physical where I was going to have to, I know that just wasn't me. See, I can't even swing my fist right. But anyway, but I'm saying that to say that's not me. But now it could be somebody in here that may be you, but I'm not looking for confrontation. I'm not, and I'm definitely not going down out of my way looking for it. I can tell you that. I'm looking for, what am I trying to say? Just get along. Just like they said, what did Rodney King say? Can we all just get along? And I know there's going to be confrontation. Don't get me wrong. I'm not oblivious to that, but I understand too. I don't have to create it. That's what I'm saying. I'm not looking to create confrontation. I'm not looking to go up. I'm just not. So I am looking to, I guess you could say, consensus, which you may never get. But how can we talk it out? How can we make sense of something? We may not be able to get there. We may be able to get there. I don't know. So the point I'm trying to say is, when I say no, I'm actually there's two things I'm trying to do. One, I'm trying to maintain that relationship. That, in my opinion, is the most important thing to think about when you're saying no. See, I just said no, how powerful that no was. I never talk to people like that. I'm very conscientious of that. Now, if it's a child and it's something they're going to do wrong, that's totally different. I'm speaking to adults. Then it's like, no, thank you for asking. I appreciate it. I don't even say no in front of it. I go, thank you for asking. I appreciate it, but I can't do that. I don't have time to do that. And I don't want to, I never say I don't want to do it, because that, they can try and convince you to want to do it. So I just say, I already have another commitment. Thank you for asking, all those kind of things. But the point is, I really have said no. I said no. Now, training people to accept your no. Wow. Read something to you. There are people who may tell you, not ask you. Everybody knows what that means. Voluntold. Everybody know about voluntold? That there are some people who may tell you, not ask you, to do something. Keep in mind, you are now training them to respect your no's. This can take a little time. Be patient during this transition, because due to your history of saying yes, you have unknowingly trained people to expect a yes answer. Wow. Think about that. You have been training people. I can almost guarantee you how many times, and let me tell you how I know this is true. You didn't even volunteer for something, and they've already put you on the list. Your name is, they already said, oh, she's going to do it. You don't have to even ask her. And I said, this could be some men on here too. You don't have to even ask him. And men are not as easily swayed like that, by the way. That's been my personal observation. So if that has ever happened to you, where they put you on a list to tell you you're going to do something, or put you wherever, and they've already put you there, they didn't ask you. That's how you know you're a yes person. They didn't even ask. They didn't even get your permission, because they automatically thought you were going to say yes. They thought it. They depended on it. Hi, Antonio. Oh, you didn't miss the show. Hi, Antonio. Nice to see you. They depended on it to the point they didn't even ask. That's powerful. They've heard yes from you so much, and that's happened to me. I'm telling you what I know. This has happened to me. Let me read some more to you. Generally, we are all trained to do certain things. For example, you wake up in the morning at a certain time, you drive or take a certain train to work at a certain time. Training is something we all are awfully familiar with, whether consciously or unconsciously. When you begin saying no nicely, you might get some pushback, as in guilt trips. Anybody been on a guilt trip? I've been on them. A ton of them. Oh, so Antonio, you said we were late. That's okay. And then Antonio says, "How I'm doing fine, Antonio." Happy Memorial Day. Oh, you missed it. We did a 1 minute at the beginning. We did 1 minute to a 1 minute silence. And then it says, love you and miss you too. Oh, tell your mom I said hi. Hi, Lori. So keep in mind, ladies and gentlemen, and this, I'm telling you, now this is honestly, when I worked full time, I didn't write, like I said, I wrote this in 2019. I retired in 2012. So that's how long it was before I even wrote the book. But the point is, all of this still applies. And if there's anybody here, there's either that, well, I know it applies because even whether you work or not, people are still asking you to do things. That doesn't change anything. So it says, when you begin saying no nicely, you might get some pushback, as in guilt trips. People may wonder, are you feeling well? Think about that. Did you and your significant other have an argument? Well, in other words, why are you saying no? That's what they want to know. What's the problem? Remember, this is how you've trained them to be. We train people. So be understanding and don't change your no to a yes. They're gonna come back at you. They're gonna come. Well, can't you change your calendar? And can't you do this? Can't you do that? No, and you just nicely, kindly, nicely, quietly. It doesn't have, you don't have to get in all people's face and do all that. That's why I think people think, oh, you don't have to do all that. All you have to just say, not quietly, no, I can't do that. You can, and I'm giving you guys what's the word? All the goods. I even lower my voice. And I'm going to tell you why. Because I don't want to offend. So I quietly said, no. You know how you heard the notes when they draw it out a little bit? That's still no. But let me tell you why all this is important. Because of the way of saying no is why we still get invited. They don't take us off the list, by the way, because they say, oh, Mary and Oliver said no, we're going to take them off the guest list. That's not what happens. No, because of the way that no is said, they're like, oh, okay, I get it. They get it. They don't feel some kind of way because of the way it was given to them, the way it was delivered, the kindness of it. They felt that. They felt like, oh, okay. I've had them say this. Okay, Mary, I get it. The next time I do something, maybe you guys can come in. I'll let you know a lot sooner. I've had people say these things because they heard my kindness. They heard, and usually I'm the social secretary of me and all. But they heard it. They understood my heart. I want to come. I want to be there. I've had, I want to tell you, sometimes it's come down to 2 weddings. Think about this, 2 weddings. Same day, same time. Whichever one hit that calendar first. And this has actually happened. And I remember thinking I wanted to go to the second one, but I said no. I said, you were asked by this couple first, then that's the wedding you're going to. No matter how you feel about the second wedding. You've honored that first. Number one, I've already honored them with a yes. So I'm not going to go back on that. And everybody knows weddings cost money. You can't just be, not showing up. So just keep that in mind as we go on. I'm going to go on. I hope this is helping somebody. I'm hoping it is. Well, one thing I know, if you've ever had to say no, I know this is helping you. Because you have to say no to something. Nobody can do everything. Let's just be honest. Nobody. Here we go. It says, remember, this is how you train to be. So be understanding, but don't change your no to a yes. Stick to your guns. You know, this is empowering you. Please do. Stick to your, because they're going to try and convince you. I'm going to tell you now. They're going to try and have you, well, can't you get out of it? Haven't your people, if you've heard any of these, I know you have. Can't you get out of it? What they're saying, can you tell them no and tell me yes? Now, they didn't say that, but when they say, can't you get out of it? And you just say, no, do the long no. No, I can't. This is what I said. I've already committed to them. And this is what I've had to add when they come back again with that. I said, it's just like if I had told you yes, you wouldn't want me to do that to you. When you put it like that, they get that. They get that because they know that's exactly true. They wouldn't want you to do it to them. So now, like I said, stick to your guns. Stick to the guns. You gotta say no. You gotta say no. Next, the decision to say no must start somewhere, and that somewhere is now. It's now. You can't just say, "Oh, I'll start saying no next week or next month or whatever," because there'll be so many opportunities to say yes. We have invitations to go already for October, all the way through. No, I'm wrong. Through Christmas, through Christmas, through December. Through December. So that's telling anything, and we've already marked our calendar on these dates. So here it is, all the way through December of 2024. We have dates done in the calendar. Done. There's no. These are weddings. These are all kinds of stuff. But I'm just saying it's already done. So if someone asks, can we do anything on these dates? Think about this. This is May. And people have already asked us to do things in December because they've already planned their calendar. They already know. I so appreciate when people do that because now I can plan my calendar because I already know. Keep in mind. Now, next. Listen to this. You shouldn't wait until a wedding, a graduation, or any other significant event to start retraining. This is huge. In other words, don't wait till something big and then all of a sudden, nope, I'm not going to that. Don't do that. Don't do that. What you want to do is start with baby steps. It could be a birthday party. So I don't know, but I'm saying baby steps. You start there, and that's how you start, and that's how you move it along. You don't just jump at a graduate. I'm not coming to that type thing. You don't want some things that are so significant to the family and friends, and all of a sudden you start saying no to those things. You want to start small, an office party or something small. So I don't want to say it's insignificant, but something small is what I'm trying to say. Don't start when it's a big thing, and then all of a sudden you're going to retrain people, and it's a wedding coming up and a graduation coming up or retirement. Don't start there. That's what I'm trying to say. Don't start small. But remember, you trained them to accept that yes. And I know for a fact I did. I was the yes lady. They were putting me on committees and never even asking me if I could do it. That's when I knew something was wrong. Something was seriously wrong because they were not respecting me. It got to that point. It wasn't about respecting, of asking me. They didn't even respect me enough to ask. Think about that. That's why I had to, whoa. We got to reel this back in and come to some realization and understanding about what's really going on here. Okay. Now, keep going. Okay, what did I say? It's better to start small, perhaps a meeting or a luncheon, and then move up when necessary. Are you afraid? I was afraid to say no. I was afraid that people would not like me. I did. I'm serious about that. I mean, are you scared to death to say no or to say no at all? Unconsciously, you have decided that it's better to be in everyone's good graces than to stand up for yourself. And that was me. I had to learn how to stand up for myself. Why is it so important for me to feel needed and used and many times abused? Ah, I'm reading this over. I know I reread it. I don't know how many times, but reading it out loud and reading it to yourself is two different things. And it is definitely hitting those points. Even now, after all these years, it still does. Only you can answer these questions. This book is here to give you some tools, but they are not the end all be all, and they may mean nothing if you choose not to use them. So, in other words, they're only as good as you use them. And Antonio, let's see. You said, Antonio said, how you'll have to visit us this summer. That would be nice. I think Antonio and Lori are in, is it South Dakota or North Dakota? It's cold wherever they are. It's cold. And then, oh, that's what I'm just saying it. Anyway, I'm like, Antonio. So this is I'm at this, I have to stop here. Well, let me say this though, because there's one more section here. Well, there's more than one section, but anyway, this is don't feel guilty for saying no to your children. Let me give you some tools real quick, ladies and gentlemen. Depends on the age of the children. That's number one. Number two, if this is what I have found, if people are asking to borrow money, I'm just going to use that one as an example. Usually, I hate to say this, and I'm just hesitant to say this because this is not in every case. I don't want to sound like that, but many times they're asking for more than what they need. Now, I'll tell you the truth on that too. They could be asking for what they need, or just what they need, or and then sometimes I don't know what I can't say. Every situation is different. That's the best way I can answer that. It's up to you. Money is one of those kind of nebulous things because sometimes, somebody could lose their home, they could lose their car, they could lose, they're going to turn off the lights. And I don't want to tell you to be running around saying no, and you have the money and you can help that person. If that's the case, my advice is to pay the company directly. I would say that. So let's say someone's like, get their lights turned off. Then instead of you giving that person the money for that, say, give me the information and I will pay that bill. That way you didn't physically put money in their hand. And maybe that's a better way. Or if they're about to lose their home and something like that, you may say, okay, give me the mortgage company and I will pay that. So you don't lose your home or you're not evicted or any of those kind of things. And I'm saying that because these things really do happen. I don't want to, I think, I don't even know if I shared that story with the audience because it's happened to me. That's how I know they do happen. So the point is, if it happens, how do you deal with that? If somebody comes to you and say, that's why I'm giving you what I have done. I have had the calls and they've said, we're about to lose the house, and would you be able to make a payment so we don't lose the house? And at that time I could do it. And I called the mortgage, this is all true, called the mortgage company. They told me what to do. This was a few years ago. So this is before we do what we can do now electronically. And I had to, I couldn't use a credit card. I think Western Union, I think it was then. That's how long ago. Those of you probably didn't heard of Western Union, but it was like Western Union. I called them and they took the payment on the phone or something. You have to pay like, I forget, let's say $80 on top of the mortgage payment. But the issue was if that payment had not gone in, that person could have, I want to say the house would have went into foreclosure. That's what the whole issue was. And it had to be paid that day. So that was the urgency. You just need to make one payment. And they said if they could get this one payment, they'd be able to pick up the next payment. Now, in that situation, I'll be the first time I did help. I did. So I can't tell people what to do when it comes to money and people because what can I say? All of us have probably dealt with situations where we didn't have the money or couldn't make a payment, whatever the case may be. The point is, that's not for me to dictate or tell you anything about that. Only you know where your finances are and where they aren't. Only you know. I know some people have loaned people money and then now they don't even talk to each other because the person did not keep their word and did not pay the money back. I'm going to give you a quick story. This happened, as I always say, it's a true story, which my niece always said, why do you say that? But they're all true. It was on my 40th birthday. My mom came and anyway, we're all doing a birthday party here for my 40th. And my mother starts putting money. She said, I need to talk to you. So I came outside on the patio and she starts pulling out $100 bills and starts putting them in my hand. And I'm jumping up and down because I'm, excited. I thought that was my birthday money from her or something. And then she gives it back to me and she said, that's not from me. I said, it's not? She goes, no, it's from your brother. And I was like, my brother is giving me this money? And she said, did you loan him money? This had been like 2 years earlier. Think about this. I totally forgot. I so far forgot. I didn't even realize I even loaned him money. And she said, you don't remember loaning him the money? I said, no. I said, because I didn't, in my mind, I called it a gift. Now, he said it was a loan. But because I did not want contentions with my brother where we're not going to get along because he didn't pay the money back, I totally, literally, I gave it to him. Never thought about it. Not 1 second after that gift. After I gave it to him, that was it. To me, I never expected it back, ever. I didn't look for it back. I didn't look for him to give it back. None of that. So when she gave it to me, I was excited and happy, but I never wanted any animosity between me and him. That was what was important to me. And there never was. So I say that what was was told to me, and this was by my own father, and he said, if you cannot give it, then don't loan it. Don't. Then just say, this is a gift, and then leave it at that. There are people to this day that do not speak behind money, and it's just not worth it. It's just not worth it. So I would highly recommend if that's the case, and these things happen. These things, I'm saying all these things. I can go back to some other, I might as well tell this. They say I'm telling and shame the devil. Years and years ago, because my children they're all grown. All the children are grown. So, but before that happened, we had purchased a home. In the home, made one mortgage payment. I was taken off my job due to edema, which is where your legs start swelling up, if you're not familiar with that. And then my late husband was taken off his job because he had kidney failure. We almost lost our home due to foreclosure. And we asked a family member to loan us the money. And the family member almost out of time. I'm telling you guys, telling my business, as they say. But it's all true. First, I went to my mother, who asked me not to purchase the home to begin with. I'm just going to tell the truth. She did, but we had this conversation, so I know I can share this. And she said, Mary, I don't want you to purchase the home. It costs too much. We went from paying $600 a month to paying $1,500 a month. Now, you guys got to know that was faith to do that, but it's true. We made one mortgage payment and then started losing the home because neither one of us could work. Then she told me, anyway, I'm running out of time. Anyway, long story short, called my husband's family and they did loan us the money. But she said, I want the money back the same way I'm giving it to you, which she did. And she asked me, she said, when can I have it back? I said, you can have it back within 6 months. They got it back within 3 months. But the point is, she said, I want it back the same way, not $100 here, $50 there, that kind of thing. So I'm saying to you, I'm not trying to say no when it comes to loaning money. And I'm going to say that because I have been in the position where I need to borrow money. So I know what that feels like. But I also honored that person and returned every single penny. I've never done that and took money from anybody on this planet. Thank God I can say that. But I'm saying that to you, that if you do it, keep that in mind. Don't let that end a relationship. Don't let money come between you and a family or a friend or anything like that. It's not worth it. It's just not worth it. And I'm going to end the show right now, ladies and gentlemen. So I gave you guys, like I said, personal examples. I love you all. Thank you for being here today. Oh, tell someone, share it, have them come, like it, share it, all that fun stuff. And we will be back next Monday with another show. God bless you. Bye, everybody.